Hello everyone and welcome back to Transforming Marriages with Uju Onwuzulike. In this video, I want to talk about something I know a lot of men might not want to hear, something a lot of men might not love. But I'm not here to talk about what men will love or what men wouldn't love. I'm here to talk about something that will help you to get stronger in your marriages. I'm here to talk about something that will help you to have a fulfilling marriages. I'm here to talk about something that will make you to be the real person you need to be in your marriage. I'm here to talk about something that will help you to succeed in your marriage. Before I start, I want to say this to every man. Stop blaming your wives when your marriages go wrong. And why do I say this? For you to understand what I am trying to say, I want you to cast your mind back to organizations. In every organization, first and foremost, we have shareholders, and then we have board of directors, and then we have CEOs, and then we have other executives and other senior management. So when things go wrong in an average organization, the first thing the shareholders will do through the directors is to summon the CEO. And then if they need to sack someone first, the first person they will need to sack is the CEO of that company. And the person they would need to call upon to give account of what has happened in that organization is the CEO and not other employees. This is also the same thing that applies in marriages, and this is something a lot of men are not aware. When things go wrong in your marriage, the first person to be asked what has happened is not the wife. And this is something a lot of people are not aware, or something they refuse to understand. When your marriage goes bad, it shouldn't be the wife that should take responsibility of that. It should be you, the husband. You should be able to take the responsibility of the fact that your marriage has failed, and you are the one that will have to give account of what has happened. This is something I want us to understand, and this is the foundation I want us to have in our marriages, that when things go wrong in our marriages, as men, we should be able to give account of what has happened. We should be able to take responsibilities. We should not push it to our wives. I'm not saying this to say that our wives won't be blamed in one way or the other, but I'm saying this to say that men are the head of the homes. And this is something that a lot of us always brag about, and this is something a lot of us always say. And we are not wrong when we say that men are the head of the homes. So if we are the head of the homes, we should know that we are to give account of what has happened in our marriages. So when our marriages go bad, we are the ones to be held responsible. I want us to leave our wives in this equation, and I will tell you why you have to do that. As a husband, you are the one that will choose who to marry. I have not seen any woman that would dictate to a man that you must marry me. In other words, we are the ones that make this recruitment. And as a CEO, when you make a wrong recruitment, you wouldn't expect that person to do well, to perform optimally, because you have made a recruitment error. And a lot of times, men make this recruitment error as to who to marry, and they don't pay attention to that. And what will you do that will show that you've made this recruitment error? When you want to marry a lady, what you usually do with this lady, or what you always do with this lady, is to sleep with this lady, the lady you've not married. First and foremost, you are disobeying God, who has said to you that premarital sex is a sin, who has said to you that fornication is a sin, and you must flee fornication. But here you come, this lady that you've not married, you have started sleeping with her, disobeying God. So, in other words, from day one, you've taken away God in your marriage. You've taken away God in your marital equation. Because when you start sleeping with someone you've not gotten married to, you are literally saying to God, God, we don't need you in this relationship. So the mistake a lot of us have made is to start even making mistake at the choice of who to marry. Because if you choose wrongly, there's no way you have a good marriage. If you choose wrongly, there's no way the lady will be able to live the kind of life that you want her to live. And when that happens, who do you think should be blamed for your recruitment error, for your marital choice error? The lady is not supposed to be blamed. The husband is supposed to be blamed. And number two, if you marry a lady and you are not leading her spiritually, you are not showing her the way of God, you are not leading her in a way that will glorify God in your marriage, you are living the kind of life you want to live that will please yourself, that will please your flesh, but these things are not pleasing to God. So when you live these kinds of life, you're expecting your wife to be a good woman, you're expecting your wife to turn out well, you are doing something that is very impossible. You won't expect her to turn out well if you are not leading by example. So another mistake men do is this: they refuse to listen to what God has asked them to do in Ephesians chapter 5 verse 25, where the Bible mandated them to love their wives the way Christ loved the church. So if you are a husband and you're not loving your wife the way Christ loves the church, how would you expect your wife to turn out good? And so if she ends up not turning out good, you will also blame her. But you didn't play your role. You have not played your own role. So you need to play your role first, because you are the head of the home. And this is something a lot of men don't do. They want their wives to be submissive to them. Yes, that is what the Bible has asked them to do. But you, being the head of the home, you must live by example. And then if you look at the hierarchy of God, Christ is the head of the family. Christ is the head of the man, and the man is the head of the woman. So if the man is the head of the woman, the man should be able to execute his responsibility first. So as a man, you are supposed to love your wife the way Christ loved the church. If you are not doing that, if you're not doing that as a man, if you're not doing that as a man, you don't have any reason to blame your wife for anything. You don't have any reason to say that your wife is not a good woman. You don't have any reason to blame your wife when your marriage has fallen under. So I want to remind you today, and to also ask you today, do you love your wife the way Christ loved the church? If you don't, you don't have any justification to blame your wife. Did you make the right choice? Did you marry the person that God has ordained for you to marry? Did you cheat on God even from day one? Did you sin against God even from day one? Did you get her to sin against God even from day one, even before you start living together? Did you do that? If you have done that, it means you have disobeyed God even from your side. And if you have done that, if you have disobeyed God, how would you expect her to obey you in that marriage? So I want us to stop blaming our wives when things go wrong in our marriages. We should be able to take responsibility. We should be able to ask ourselves, have we done what we are supposed to do as the head of the family? Have we done what we are supposed to do as the head of the home? Have you done what you're supposed to do as a man? Until we do that, we will not be able to build the right home that God wants us to build. In the last 1 month, I have seen a lot of marriages hitting the rock. And when you meet the husbands, they are quick to tell you what their wives have done wrong. They are quick to tell you how wicked and how unsubmissive their wives are. But these men are not telling you what they have done wrong. I want to say this to you. If you will recall the way you loved this lady before you married her, if you recall the way you were heads over heels in love with this lady. If you recall all the things you've done even before you married this lady, before you were able to get this lady by your side, you now need to ask yourself, do I love her in that manner? Do I do those things that I usually do before that she will like? Do I love her the way I'm supposed to love her? But essentially, do you love her the way Christ loved the church? That is a question you need to ask yourself as a man. And if your answer is no, you don't have any justification to blame your wife when your marriage hits the rock. If you have answered no to that question, what you need to do is to get back to your first love. What you need to do is to love her the way Christ loved the church. And let me also add this: if you are a man, loving your wife the way Christ loved the church shouldn't be attached to any condition. You don't need any condition to love your wife. When Christ loved us and died for us, we were not righteous people, we were sinners, but Christ still died for us. If Christ did not attach any condition for his death, we are not supposed to attach any condition before we love our wives. I want to say this to you. Even if you think this woman is not submissive to you, even if you think that this woman is not respectful to you, you still need to love her the way Christ loved the church. Leave the judgment for God. If your wife is not playing her part, what you're supposed to do is to play your part so that when God is judging, God will give you a good mark for playing your part. But when your wife is not playing her own part and you choose to stop playing your own part because your wife is not playing her part, you are the one to be blamed. So in this video, I am saying to you that we should stop blaming our wives when things go wrong in our marriages. We need to talk to ourselves first. We need to get it right. We need to do what God has asked us to do. We need to do what we are expected to do. When we do what we are expected to do, we'll be able to say to God, God, I have played my part. God, I have done what you've asked me to do. Until we do that, until we take charge as men, until we begin to love our wives the way Christ loved the church, we will not be able to build a very strong home. I'm encouraging you today to start loving your wife the way Christ loved the church. And that love shouldn't be attached to any condition. When you love your wife the way Christ loved the church, you will experience peace in your marriage. Because no woman, and I want to repeat it, no woman anywhere in the world that will not accept love. But this love is something you need to initiate. Initiate this first because you are the head of the home. So if you found value in this video, I want you to like and subscribe and also share this with others so that together we will build marriages that work. So that together we'll be able to have men that will love their wives the way Christ wants us to love our wife. Enjoy your day.